we are going to learn about the law of cosines. Alright, so the law of cosines is just a generalized form of the Pythagorean theorem. If you have some random triangle with angles A, B, and C, and the side across from angle A would be side A, side across from angle B would be side B, and then side C. Alright, so the length of side C squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus twice the two other sides besides C, say A and B, multiplied by the cosine of angle C. Just remember, whatever side you're looking for, you can start by writing the Pythagorean theorem, then subtract twice the product of the two other sides besides the side you're looking for, multiplied by the cosine of the angle across from whatever side you're looking for to begin with. Likewise, say if you want, you could rewrite this in a different order and it'd still be pretty much the same. Like if you're looking for side B, you'd start by squaring the other two sides and add them together. Then multiply those two sides by 2, so minus 2AC, times the cosine of angle B this time, since we have B squared by itself. And you could rewrite it a third way. A squared is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides, B and C. So A squared is equal to B squared plus C squared. Then minus twice the product of those two sides, B and C, times the cosine of angle A, since we have length of side A squared by itself. In case you've forgotten, like if it's a capital letter, it's the measure of an angle. If it's a lowercase letter, it's the length of the side across from the angle. Now we're going to do an example of solving an SAS triangle. If I tell you to solve the triangle, if I tell you the length of side A is 2, the length of side B is 3, and then angle C is 60 degrees. Remember, whenever we say solve the triangle, we're looking for the parts of the triangle we don't have. So, if you can't see off the top of your head what we don't have,
C, big A equals big A. Big A,
yeah.
big B.
We don't have angle A, angle B. We do have angle C, which is 60 degrees. We have the length of side A, which is 2, and the length of side B, which is 3. So we need angle A, angle B, and then side C. So if we want to set up the law of cosines, yeah, C squared equals 2 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times twice the product of A and B, so 2 times 2 times 3 times the cosine of 60 degrees. Then I tell you C squared is equal to 2 squared is 4, 3 squared is 9, so 4 plus 9, then minus 2 times 2 is 4 times 3 is 12, and then cosine of 60 is, I believe it's 1/2. So C squared is equal to 4 plus 9 is 13, minus 6, because half of 12 is 6, so C squared is 7. So C is equal to the square root of 7. So now we can solve for angles B and A.
That's BA.
Which angle should let's pick an angle to solve for first.
C.
Well, we already have angle C, so we could
A.
let's find angle A. So we start with side A squared, so 2 squared is equal to side B squared, which is 3 squared, plus side C squared, which is square root of 7 squared, minus 2 times 3 times the square root of 7 times cosine of angle A. So what we're eventually going to do is just solve for the cosine of A and then do inverse cosine. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. Square root of 7 squared is 7. Minus 2 times 3 is 6. So minus 6 square roots of 7 times the cosine of angle A. Yeah. So 4 is equal to 16 minus 6 square roots of 7 times the cosine of A. So if you subtract 16 from both sides, you get minus 12 is equal to minus 6 square roots of 7 times the cosine of A. So divide by negative 6 square roots of 7. Well, cosine of A. Normally you don't have a radical on the bottom, but in this case we're not looking for the value of the cosine of A. We're looking for the value of angle A. So, to save yourself some effort, you could leave it like that for now and just take cosine inverse. Because you're not going to have a radical whenever you do cosine inverse.
It's radical.
Alright, the radical?
Square root.
Yeah.
No, I said that's radical.
Oh, you said that's radical?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you do cosine inverse on both sides. So angle A is equal to inverse cosine of this fraction, which is approximately, it'd be approximately 40.9 degrees. So if angle A is 40.9 degrees, and angle C is 60 degrees, so angle B, yes, I believe it is 79.1 because you just subtract both of those from 180. I believe that's about 79.1 degrees. Right, so now we're going to do an example of an SSS triangle, solving using the law of cosines. So if I tell you to solve the triangle, where the length of side A is 4, the length of side B is 3, and the length of side C is 6. So let's pick an angle to calculate first. Alright, if you want to figure out angle C, you can plug it in. You can do 6 squared. 6 squared is equal to 4 squared plus 3 squared minus twice the product of A and B. So 4 and 3 times the cosine of angle C. This is for, in case you're wondering, in case you want to label it in your notes, we're trying to find the measure of angle C. So, now if you want to simplify that, 6 squared is 36, 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9, so 16 plus 9. Then minus 2 times 4 is 8, times 3 is 24. Minus 24 times the cosine of C. 16 plus 9 is 25, is equal to 36. And then subtract from the 25 the 24 cosine of c. So now if you want to subtract now, minus 25. So it's 36 minus 25 is 11. 11 is equal to negative 24 cosine of c. So cosine of c is equal to negative 11 over 24. So angle C is equal to cosine inverse of negative 11 over 24. Because once you solve for the cosine of the angle, you can take cosine inverse to find the measure of the angle. Cosine inverse of angle C, you will find that should be approximately 117.3 degrees. So from here, since we have one angle, we could technically set up the law of sines now if we wanted to do that. Or we could keep doing law of cosines to find one of the other angles. Let's use the law of cosines to find one of the other two angles. We can find angle... Yeah, let's find angle A. Now, angle A we'd set up by doing side A, which is 4 squared, is equal to the other two sides squared, then add them together, 3 squared plus 6 squared, minus 2 times 3 times 6 times cosine of angle A. So 4 squared is 16, 3 squared is 9, 6 squared is 36. Minus 2 times 3 is 6, times 6 is 36. Cosine of A. 9 plus 36 is 45. 16 is equal to 45 minus 36 cosine of A. Which means, if we subtract 45 from both sides, we'd have minus 29 is equal to minus 36 cosine of A. Which means cosine of A is equal to positive 29 over 36. So angle A is equal to cosine inverse of 29 over 36, which is approximately 36.3 degrees.
That's angle A?
Yes, that would be angle A. So now that we have two of the angles, we can find angle B by taking both of them and subtracting them both from 180. Subtract angle C and angle A. And that should give you approximately, I believe it's 46, or 26 rather, 26.4. Says a sailboat leaves Naples, Florida, bound for Key West. Not Kanye West, but Key West, 150 miles away, maintaining a constant speed of 15 miles per hour, but encountering heavy crosswinds and strong currents. The crew finds, after 4 hours, that the sailboat is off course by 20 degrees. How far is the sailboat from Key West at this time? Not Kanye West.
Kanye's everywhere.
Also, through what angle should the sailboat turn to correct its course?
Radio. Well, you know, Kanye just got out of the hospital.
And also, for the third question, how much time has been added to the trip because of this? And assume the speed remains at 15 miles per hour. Let me put a diagram of what this would look like. Alright, and here's a diagram of what it would look like. And wants to know how far is the sailboat, which is currently right here in the diagram.
Kanye?
Yeah, how far is it from Key West, not
Okay,
Kanye West?
I will do it if you call it Kanye West in the video.
Okay, if you want, you can pretend that it says Kanye West and that it's actually sailing to Kanye West's house.
Oh, the mental hospital.
But we need to find pretty much this side here from the dot, which is the boat, to, you can say Key West, or you can pretend it says Kanye West.
Let's just do Law of Cosines. It's easy.
But, however, in order to find, we don't know any of the other two angles, angle A or the angle at Key West. This angle here, we don't know that angle either.
Yeah, but we can just do sine of an X.
No, X is the length of a side. So the angle across from X, remember, is the angle 20 degrees.
Oh, I mean sine of 20 degrees divided by X.
So part A, if you try to do the law of sines, here's what it would look like. Sine of 20 over X is equal to sine of angle A divided by the length of the side across from A, which is 150. That's equal to the angle at Key West House. You can call it angle C. Divided by 60. Now, if you notice, if you try to use the law of sines right now, you will have two unknowns whenever you go to solve it, no matter which two fractions you use. So you kind of need to use the law of cosines at least right now. After you find the length of X, the distance the boat is from Kanye West's house, then you can use the law of sines. But we need to use the law of cosines to find how far the boat has to go. So, we could say that the distance the boat has to travel, x squared, is equal to the other two lengths of the triangle, 60 and 150. 60 squared plus 150 squared.
Well, if those are angles, we know that one is 150 and one is...
Minus 2 times 60 times 150 times the cosine of the angle across from x, which we said was 20 degrees. So x squared is equal to 3,600 plus 22,500 minus 2 times 60 is 120 times 150. I think that would be 18,000 times the cosine of 20. And really, you could have gone at this step and just typed it into the calculator, if you really wanted to save yourself some effort. But anyway, you should get that x squared is about 9,185.53.
Square rooted.
So if you square root it, you find that the boat still has about 95.8 miles to go. So whoever's in the sailboat still has about 96 miles to go to get to Kanye West's crib. I mean Key West. Since Barry that says Key West instead of Kanye West.
More like 96 miles.
Will be. I want to know what angle should the boat take to correct its course? Which we said they have about 95.8 miles to go. So what angle A should they take? To do that, we could set up the law of sines again. But the length of side A, which is this side, the distance from Naples to, I guess that's Key West, or you can pretend it says Kanye West. You do 150 squared is equal to the other length of the other two sides squared minus 2 times 60 times 95.8 times the cosine of angle A. So we could subtract 60 squared and 95.8 squared, so you would have 150 squared minus 60 squared minus 95.8 squared is equal to minus 2 times 60 times 95.8 times the cosine of angle A. So, the left-hand side, which is this part, that simplifies to, if you want to type in your calculator, you should get that side that is in the parentheses in brown, simplifies to 9,684, and the minus 2 times 60 times 95.8 should simplify to about negative 11,520 times the cosine of angle A. So cosine of A is equal to negative 9,684 divided by 11,520, which is approximately negative 0.8406.
Alright, good job, Mr. Scott.
No, we're not done yet.
We're not done
one
yet.
part.
So, angle A is equal to the cosine inverse of negative 0.8406, which is approximately 147.2. So the boat needs to make a turn of about 147.2 degrees to correct its course. Alright, and I just realized a slight error. I mean, we didn't do anything wrong, we just didn't go far enough into the problem. Alright, this 147.2 is this angle A right here. But if you notice, the angle it has to turn would actually be that angle theta right there.
So it's the opposite.
So you would subtract the,
Complementary value.
yeah, well, supplementary.
Is it complementary?
Alright, so to find the actual angle they turn, which would be this angle theta, we need to take our 147.2 and subtract it from 180.
She makes cakes.
So that means they actually had to make a turn of 32.8 degrees. Let me make the decimal bigger so you can see it. That means you had to go 32.8 degrees. In part C asks, how much extra time was added to the trip? Well, let me bring the diagram back up for you. Alright. X is now approximately, say, 96. No. Make it simple. So it's originally going to be 150 miles, but with the little detour, the distance is now 156. So that means we added an extra 6 miles to our trip, right? So, and remember, speed is equal to distance over time. So time is equal to distance over speed. We said our distance was 6 miles. Our speed, we were told in the problem that our speed remains at 15 miles per hour. So 6 over 15. So our time is at 0.4 hours, or about 24 minutes. So it added about an extra 24 minutes to our trip.